conversation as a whole tonight, it works for any one of these. All right. So the structure behind it won't matter as much as how you talk to the seller. All right, so we can do a land contract or contract for deed. If you're doing it in Ohio, it's a land contract. Some other states are contract for deed. That's where you have a contract to purchase the house. You make payments, the deed stays in the seller's name, and then eventually will transfer into the buyer's name once the contract's paid off. Subject to is like the example I talked about, where the deed transfers to the buyer's name, but the mortgage stays in the seller's name. And the buyer, we would make the payment to the bank on the seller's behalf. Wrap mortgage is where there's a mortgage, but the seller has a lot of equity. So let's say the house is worth 200, they still owe 100. You buy it for 180, and so you create a mortgage for 180 that includes that first mortgage of 100. Owner held mortgage or seller carryback is a situation where basically the seller is the bank. There's no other bank involved, and the seller gets a mortgage. Lease option is where you don't actually purchase the house, but you control the house by renting it from the seller and signing an option where you have the option to purchase it at a set price in the future. And usually you want to get some kind of credit in your monthly payments on the lease that apply to the option. Master leases. Usually that's for like multifamily building situation where you can rent the whole building and then essentially sublet the individual units. So you'll rent the whole building from the seller, and you want to have an option with that as well. And then you'll have the benefit that you can then rent out the individual units. JV. You can do that. Usually that's a flip scenario where the seller realizes fixed up the house is worth more. And so you can have a partnership with that seller where you don't give them any money when you buy it, but you'll fix up the property. And then when you sell it, you split the profits some way in that partnership. So the seller would benefit from they would have an equity stake in the value going up from the repairs, or 0% interest offers. And that's essentially any of these other ones just with 0% interest. And if there's no interest, every payment you make is principal, and you can structure that very creatively. So you can have the payment change whenever you want. It really doesn't matter. There's not a lot of structure to that.